Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to Soul Focus on Friday night. This is my very special guest, Tim Doyle, psychic medium.
Oh,
How do you?
hi.
Sorry, trance medium.
Yes, spiritual trance medium. I'm from Sheffield, England. Living in
Yep.
Doncaster in England at the moment.
Okay.
Sheffield. Okay. The Steel City.
Is it cold where you are?
It was colder yesterday. It really dropped down to about 4 degrees, but it's nice and sunny today, so it's not too bad.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's Adelaide summer, it's Australian summer, which is not like it used to be. It used to be hot all the time, and now it's hot, cold, hot, cold. We don't know where the seasons are going down here anymore.
Well, we're about the same, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
The seasons are merging into each other. Some are wetter and some are sunnier than others. And summer seems to come early and winter comes early.
That's it.
It's just crazy, the weather. Crazy.
Oh, yeah. Haven't they seen the calendar? There's a calendar. Weather.
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah.
So tell us about you, how you came to be into mediumship. Where did it all start for you?
I was thinking about this because obviously when you set up this interview, you said we'll probably ask you about how it all started.
Yeah.
And usually I go to this quite a big event that happened in my life, but thinking about it, it started from being quite young, really, in school. And although I didn't know it at that point.
Yeah.
And my first memory of anything sort of strange out of the normal happening was I was in junior school, so I would have been around 10, that sort of age.
Yep.
And the teacher was doing hangman on the board, where you have to figure out a phrase or a saying or something like that. That you fill in the blanks. And as the teacher was putting in these lines, and then a stroke and another one, the answer came to me before anything happened. And she said, give me a letter. And I just gave her the answer. And she looked astounded. Okay, yes. I don't know how you did that, but we'll try another one. And again, it happened again. And she gave up on the exercise, to be honest. And I just dismissed it. I didn't know where that information came from at that point. And it was much later in life when I had an accident to my knee, which sort of stopped me in my tracks, quite literally.
Yep.
I was a very athletic person. I played tennis and football, and I did a lot of running. And this injury to my knee stopped all that. And I was really down on my luck as well in life generally. I didn't really have a proper job, and I had nowhere to live. I just split up with my girlfriend. So I ended up being on the couch at my sister's.
Yep.
Okay, and my sister was a bit into the tarot and stuff like that. And she said, well, she just handed me this book. And it was a book by Vera Alder Stanley called Finding the Third Eye. I thought, what's she giving me this for? I thought,
How old were you then?
Pardon?
How old were you then?
Right, I was just before 40. Yeah, I was around 40 then. We're talking 20 odd years ago now. Okay. Yep. And I thought, well, I got nothing better to do. I'll read this book. Anyway, lo and behold, there was an exercise in it where you meet your guide. So I thought, okay, I'll do this exercise. I'm a bit skeptic, obviously, at this point. And the first time you have to meditate and do these breathing things and do something with your eyes and stuff. Anyway, then the first time something sort of started happening. And I thought, okay, I'll try again. So I did it again, and then boom, this man appeared in front of me. It was incredible. And not in a physical sense, but in a spiritual sense, he was there.
So what did that look like?
Well, this is the thing. He had his back turned to me, and he was hooded.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, this is very weird. And I said, well, can I see your face? And he turned his face, and his face was all scarred, as if he'd been in a fire situation or something of that ilk. And then, whoosh, disappeared. At the same time, I was on the internet looking at readings and psychic stuff. And there was a site where you could practice doing free readings. So I thought, oh, go on, and I'll have a go. And suddenly, I thought, well, I didn't believe it at this point. And I thought, okay, well, I saw a blue door, let's say. So I gave this blue door to somebody and they said, yeah, I know where that is. I went, do you? Do you really know where that is? Yes. And so I carried on, and they were very happy with the reading. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, am I making this up? This stuff here?
Yep.
So anyway, then I said to the people who ran it, I said, look, can I just have a quick word with you? I says, can you... Oh, and part of this exercise, sorry, I'll go back to the exercise. You see an Egyptian eye. When your third eye first starts to open, you see an Egyptian eye or an eye of some ilk. So part of that, I did see that, you see. So I said to him, what's the significance of the third eye, of seeing this third eye? And they said, well, you're opening up to spirit and you're about to have your first spiritual experience. I went, am I? Okay. Still a little bit skeptic. I said, well, thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. 20 minutes later, there was a massive change of energy in the room. The computer almost lifted off the desk. It was like a thunderbolt.
Yep.
My knees were shaking. I couldn't control my legs, my arms, whilst this was going on. And I had a vision of this energy that I'd just witnessed, this chap.
Yep.
And it was an RAF pilot in the war. And he was coming down. He'd been shot down.
Yeah.
So I was actually in the cockpit with him, and he was gasping for breath and this and that. And he zoomed down, and he obviously crashed into the sea. And then the sun came rising up. And an ankh came. I thought, what's the significance of an ankh? So I quickly Googled the ankh and found that it means eternal life. So I thought, well, this is all very strange. And I'd sort of suddenly got a belief in God. All of a sudden, I got this sudden belief, and I never believed in God before this point. But I don't know why. Well, I think that obviously this situation, this experience that I went through, gave me that belief. And I went out to a local crystal shop. I thought, I'm going to acknowledge this. And I bought an ankh. And the lady put it in a brown paper bag. And I put it in my pocket. And I brought it home. Now, as I took it out of the packet, it zinged with energy. It was incredible. I put this ankh over my neck and on here. And I swore blind I'd probably wear this forever and ever. Although I don't actually wear it now. It's actually hanging on the side of my bed. But I went into the kitchen, looked out of the window, wondering about all these wonderful experiences that I was having, trying to make sense of them. And I was looking at the sky, and a great big, I can't remember the name of them, but like a big eagle, let's say, but it wasn't an eagle, came swooping down and up by the window and up, made me look up out of the window into the clouds. And in the clouds formed all these spiritual beings.
Wow.
And one of them was being carried like an Egyptian on some sort of carriage. But weirdly, I just had this knowledge that this image of this Egyptian was actually my mum.
Yep.
I know it was barking really, but my mum's not Egyptian, or she wasn't in this life, but she is in the spirit world. And that took a bit of getting used to, I'm going to be honest with you. So it was a massive experience. And I thought, gosh, what do we do here? So then my sister said, well, why don't you go to the local spiritualist church? Which, funnily enough, was basically at the bottom of the road where I was brought up. But I'd never actually noticed it. It sort of set back a little bit.
Yep.
So I went there one afternoon, and the lady taking the circle came to me first. I thought, oh my God, here we go. What's going on? 50% of what she gave me, I could understand. It made sense. You know, she sort of said what I'd done in my life and this and that. And I thought, well, how does she know this? 50% of it didn't really make any sense at that point. But slowly and surely, over the months that came, it all fell into place. Now I'm the president of that church, and I obviously help run it and stuff.
Yep.
So that's basically what happened. And looking at other people's experiences, usually it's a big shock to the system, a big shock to your body, a big change in your life that causes us to naturally open up to the spirit world. A lot of people go through near-death experiences. Luckily, I didn't have that. Some people have an operation, and they have this spiritual experience. So that's what we generally find. Now, I find it interesting that obviously I was aware a little bit in my younger days, but it didn't really open massively up until my sort of late 40s, middle 40s. And around about the age of 33, I think it was, I gave up drinking. I drank not too heavily, but I used to like to go out to the pub and have a few beers. Somebody quite close to me died from alcohol poisoning, so I thought, well, I don't want that anymore. So I just gave up. And I said, I did the sort of thing to God. I said, look, if you really exist, prove it to me. Are you going to prove it to me? You know, okay, I've been to church. Nothing in church sort of really gelled with me. I didn't really get it.
Yep.
So, and I'm a scientist or a background scientist, so I thought I like to investigate and get answers. So I said to him, in my own private time, come on then, if you do exist, prove it to me. Come on, I'm wanting to know. Nothing happened until these events, and then suddenly I thought, yes, this is the evidence he's given me. So that's really how I got awakened up to the spirit world in quite dramatic fashion. For me personally, I'm sure it's dramatic for everyone. Okay. Then I just carried on from there. I did some courses online and did some development in churches, and went to a lot of circles and practiced and practiced and practiced. And I know in the beginning you say trance medium. I always had this wonder about trance.
Yep.
And trance is quite difficult to get proper tuition on. You have to be. When I first was looking into it, they were very skeptical about just allowing anybody who comes along. You have to be invited, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of my trance work has been self-taught by just sitting with spirit. But then later, yes, we were accepted, and we did do quite a few trance courses. And the latest thing really is trance healing, where you go into an altered state and allow the healing energy to come through in more of a focus, more of a pure way. The less, if I explain mediumship, how I see it, there's the mental mediumship, where you see people giving messages, and basically that's a gelling of the mind of the spirit and the mind of the medium.
Yep.
And the medium has to interpret some of the information that's given. So that's where you sometimes get information that's not quite right. The medium may make a mistake at that point.
Yep.
Whereas if there's less mind of the medium and more mind of the spirit, then the accuracy of the information goes up.
Is that like channeling, or is it different to that?
Well, I suppose, yes, it is. That's a sort of Americanism, isn't it? The Americans like to use the word channeling. We like to just use the word trance. But obviously, there's degrees of trance and channeling, if you like. So there may be light trance. There's more of the medium's mind still active. And the more passive the medium's mind, the more active the spirit mind, the increased accuracy of the information. And in respect to healing, the purer the energy can come in, because it's not being, let's say you've got like electricity, you haven't got a thin wire where you've got a lot of resistance. You've got a thicker wire where you can come through and you get more current coming through. So I like to sort of use that as an analogy. Well, that's difficult to say, isn't it? Hey, a wee pussy has just appeared. Yeah. I love the picture you used, actually, of my dog. It's just that was the day before he passed to the spirit world. That picture.
Okay.
So yeah. So where we're at. So trance, or channeling, if you like, allows for the spirit to come through more clearly, if you in a sort of layman's term. Okay. And more lately, I don't know if you've heard of transfiguration.
No.
Where the spirit can change the outlook of the medium, the look of the medium's face to their face.
Okay.
Okay. So what they do is they build up a mask of ectoplasm around this sort of distance from the face, a few inches away from the face, and actually manipulate that and change the shape of the face, and you see the face of the spirit.
Yep.
It's usually done under red light. But I do believe it can be done in daylight as well, but that's more tricky for them on their side of life.
Can you explain to some of the people what ectoplasm is?
Ectoplasm, yes. It's a substance that's kept within the body of the medium, and the spirit world utilize that. They take it from the medium. A lot of water. You have to drink a lot of water before you do trance work, because for some reason that's required. But I also understand that the spirit world also adds some ingredients from their side of life to allow this to happen, to allow the ectoplasm to be visual under red light. It's not really visible under direct normal daylight because it's not stable to that, and that's the reason. Okay, so it's actually taken from the medium's body, and this is in those sort of situations. It has to be very controlled because it's very dangerous. If suddenly somebody put a light on, it would retract to the body very quickly and cause burning sensations, and has in the past caused death even to the medium. So it's not something that it's done. It has to be controlled, and the people there have to be aware of all the situations. Yeah. So, I mean, often a lot of people see what they see with the readings online and things like that is only really the tip of the iceberg in respect to mediumship.
Yep.
There's a lot more to it than what you just see there. And once you get into it, you just get, you just can't get out of it, really. It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Bringing in the unseen.
Yeah.
In the Victorian days, they did a lot of physical mediumship, which they need ectoplasm to be able to interact with the physical world to create a physical effect on the earth plane that everybody sees, irrespective whether they're a medium or a psychic or whatever. Okay. Nowadays, because of the pandemic, I think there's been a bit of a boom online with mediumship, and I don't know exactly where the spirit world want to go with it, but I think there will be more of the other types of mediumship in time.
Yeah.
Because I think they're whetting our appetite for more. You know?
Yeah.
There was a boom after the war years because everybody wanted to know if their loved ones were okay in the spirit world and stuff, and then that dwindled a little bit. Nowadays, the modern mediumship, we just have to wait and see what the spirit world
to
has
see
got.
how it develops.
Yeah. Okay.
So you do physical mediumship?
On the odd occasion, yes. We don't get much opportunity these days, especially the last couple of years with the pandemic. We've not been able to do much at all, just developing ourselves at home with the spirit world. But I'm sure there will be more chances. In fact, the other day I met somebody online who does transfiguration as well, and it made me think, okay, we might get to do it together and do a duet, or something of that ilk. Yeah.
Have you got any stories that you can share about the transfiguration?
Well, not really. See, when I'm doing it, I'm in a trance state, so I'm not really fully aware of what's going on. But certainly, I've been there, I've done it, and the people have said, "Oh my God, I can see my granddad," that sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. But it is far and few between that we get the opportunity to actually demonstrate it in the public eye. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's been well documented by Nobel Prize winners in the early last century, and they documented it, and they've said, "Yep, this is the real deal."
Yeah.
Because I know there's always skeptical people, but when you have Nobel Prize winners that say, "Hey, no, this is this is really happening," you got to take note.
Even the Christian Church years ago did a big investigation into mediumship, and actually came up with the conclusion: yes, it is true, and but they didn't want to publicize it, so they published it in a small way, to show that they did what they did. But it just shows you the power of the media. If they put it out to the general media, but they didn't want that, so they controlled it, which just shows you. But
absolutely.
Yeah. So 100% mediumship is right. Mediumship is everybody's a medium, really.
Yep.
everybody. We're not special in the way that some people think that you've got a special gift. Yeah, I'm not saying that everyone will be a medium, but I believe that everybody has the ability, and at some point in their life will witness the spirit world, even if it's just on their deathbed, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the stories of people having loved ones say goodbye to them after and coming, you know, we've all heard. And I guess that's mediumship, and they're not necessarily mediums.
Exactly. I mean, to take I had my father passed a spirit last year, and my father and my mother were both atheists. So I was brought up in a family that didn't believe in God, didn't believe in it. It was a load of low bollocks, basically. And so my father, I had to look after him in his latter years, and he had some weird experiences in those last years. You know, he saw his mum and things like that.
Yep.
And he just thought, he just put it down to him being a bit delirium, you know, and the state of mind. However, the day before he died, I said to him, look, Dad, don't worry. I'm going to guarantee you now, you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay on the other side. In fact, it'll be better than this. And, you know, if I'm right, come back to me and let me know, you know. Well, I'm buzzing now. I'm really buzzing with spirit telling you this bit. So, I think he's close. So what happened was the next day he passed. 3 days later, he appeared at the side of my bed and wanted to shake my hand and say thank you. So, to me, and the weird thing is, when my mum passed, I was really, you know, quite upset. It was upsetting.
Yeah.
When my dad passed, I was happy. And some people think that's a bit weird, but I've got this great understanding of the spirit world that life really begins when we pass to the spirit world, not this life.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the end; it's more of a beginning. And just to know that he's not suffering anymore, and that he's now living a greater life, and he's back with my mum.
Yep.
And both of them can be with me 24/7, whereas before they couldn't. You know.
Yep.
So. And a lady, about a couple of weeks later, a lady got a phone call from the nurse type people who look after them, and they said, "Well, we're more concerned with you. We just want to check you're okay." So I said, "Well, it might sound strange this, but actually I'm very happy." She went, "Very happy?" I says, "Yes." I says, "Let me explain that I am a spiritualist medium, so I understand, you know, the spirit world, and actually I'm very happy for my father that he's now passed and he's not suffering."
Yep.
Because he suffered from dementia and Alzheimer's, and it was terrible what he went through. He was a very well-educated man, and then suddenly he can't do things, he can't think. It was terrible what he went through. So I was really happy that he was over that. So I hope people understand that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people. I recently lost my father. And just sort of having, you know, some knowledge of how this, you know, how things work in the spiritual. You know, I was happy to be a part. You know, happy to be, you know, see him just before, and as still being sad, there was a peacefulness about him passing.
That's. I mean, obviously, you know, not jumping up and down with glee. You know, we're just happy within that.
Yep.
We've got to this stage now, and he can start his new life in the spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get where it's a comfort, isn't it? It's a comfort in that sense. More for them, but there wasn't the grief and the sorrow that one might expect if you weren't a medium, if you didn't have that understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
because
right.
it's just because you just got that attachment and that loss. If you don't, if you
That's
don't
right.
understand that.
Yeah, I try and look at the positives, and I try and look at the fact that now he can help me in the spirit world from the spirit side of life with my life now, whereas
Yep.
before he was just laying in a bed, so he couldn't really do much. So I feel like he's got his life back.
Yep.
That's what I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want them to suffer, and like when people have to hang on and on when they're sick, it's like, why are you hanging on? You're in
Yeah.
pain,
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
like, what's the point,
Mm.
but it's hard for people to process that sort of thing because they just, they haven't got much knowledge about it.
Well, that's because we can
Yeah.
only understand what we experience.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people think, okay, I want to get into spirit. I'll get a pack of tarot cards, let's say, or angel cards, and stuff like that, and read up on it and stuff. That will help you a little bit, but it's not like school here on the earth plane. You learn through being with spirit, learn through working with spirit, bit by bit, and also.
Yeah.
We do courses in schools and colleges and universities, and they may take a few years to complete a course. With spirit, it's never ending, the learning, but to become a sort of accomplished medium, it takes maybe 12 years, that sort of length of time.
Yep.
And some people will look at that and think, oh my God, I can't spend 12 years meditating or and stuff like that. They think it's a long, long time. But if you are serious about it and it's meant to be, you'll just do the journey.
Yeah.
Don't think about the length of time to achieve anything. Just go along with the flow. That would be my advice.
Yep.
Go along with the flow with your journey with spirit and see where it takes you.
Absolutely.
No point about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all learning, and even with a lot of the gifts and just a lot of people's spiritual walk. I mean, that's what you're trying to do anyway. You're trying to just connect with spirit. Have you got any? So when you started getting into mediumship, what sort of stuff were you doing to train yourself to get close to spirit?
Okay. In the first instance, a lot of people advised one to meditate a lot, and I did find that meditation will accelerate the connection. It's basically training yourself to quieten your mind. That's basically it, because we are active in our conscious mind all the day, apart from when we're sleeping. But spirits come through our unconscious mind. And as a medium, you've got to train your conscious mind to be quiet so that you can listen to your unconscious mind. And you've also got to train to be able to do the two things at the same time, to be able to deliver a message. Because you've got to be conscious. You can't be in a meditative state on a platform giving messages. Okay. It'll be too slow, switching from one to the other. So you've got to be able to have both working at the same time. So as you develop, you become more sensitive to noise, to light, to feelings, all these things. And the reason is basically what you are doing is connecting with your own spirit. What they say is we have a replica of our physical body as a spiritual body, which is what you will go to the spirit world, leaving the physical body behind. So you have spiritual ears, you have spiritual nose to smell, everything of the physical is also in the spiritual. So as you become, through meditation, more aware of your spiritual body, then spirit can actually communicate with you, because they communicate through your spirit body, which then transcends down to your physical body. So what you are doing really in mediumship is finding about you.
Yep.
And as a byproduct of that, you're able to communicate with the spirit world. So mediumship is not really about being the greatest medium or anything like that. It's just finding you, looking into your soul and connecting with your soul. And when you
Excellent.
can do that, then you connect with the spirit world. And we do a practice called, we call it sitting in the power.
Yep.
Now, you're not meditating at all there. Meditation is about learning how to quieten your mind so that you can listen to your subconscious. But sitting in the power is an exercise where you practically just sit and do nothing. You try to think of nothing, you're not meditating as such, and you allow the spirit world to build the energy with you, to build their link with you. Okay? This exercise goes way, way back to the mediums of old. And this is how they did it. They didn't necessarily think about their chakras and auras and all this malarkey, which is more of an Eastern way of doing things. It's fine. We do that as well. I think it would take a bit of everyone. But they just sit in the power. So they just sit and feel the energy around them and allow the spirit world, invite the spirit world to come in and build that power with them and that link that they build with you bit by bit. Because the spirit world have to learn how to gel their energies with you as you allow them to do that. So a lot of mediums will do that on a regular basis. Maybe some will do it every day, some will do it once a week. I'm not as disciplined as that because I have a very busy life. So I'll do it whenever I feel I need to, or I'll do it when I lay down at night before I go to sleep. I'll say, okay, I'm here, use me now, bring in whatever you need to do, and if you've got a message for me, let me know. That's how I do it. You have to work out a way to do it that suits you and your lifestyle at that time. But I think it's very important that mediumship is about finding you. It's not necessarily about the end product of what you do with it. I think spirit want you to know that you are spirit. And if you can connect with your spirit and develop it, then you will become a more loving person, a more truthful person, a more caring person, and you'll do more good in this world.
Awesome.
It just becomes, you become more in harmony with yourself. You should become more healthy as well, I think. But basically, your outlook and your way of thinking will change to a much better person, basically.
Well, I guess as you do all that work on yourself, I mean, you'd have to.
Yeah. That's
like you naturally embrace those changes.
I suppose, like, I'm just seeing a nice shiny car now. You get the engine working right. You get the bodywork shiny, clean, and you're just polishing it up and continually doing that so that machine works. You basically are tuning yourself up to become an instrument for the spirit world to work with. Okay, so that's it. So you have to do a lot of work on yourself. You do, and it's continuous. It doesn't stop.
No.
If you do stop, I guess it'll just stay at that level.
Yep.
But there is throughout life, there is this continuous progression. So I think naturally you will, even if you don't
Yep.
you don't consciously make an effort to do it, it will happen anyway. You know, little by little.
As you work on yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. There's no way around it, people. You got to work on yourself.
Yeah,
That's the key.
That's one of the keys that'll get you going.
Can't just get a certificate.
Yeah. When I started meditating,
Yep.
I was looking away, because I fell down in life, if you like. I had nowhere to live because I had to split up with my girlfriend and all this malarkey and had this accident. So I actually went to live in a campsite out in the countryside in a tent. So I was able to meditate on my own quite a lot with nature there. And there were some quite weird experiences there too. There was one time I thought, okay, I'll get the cards out, sort of put some stones around in a circle. Suddenly I could feel energy there with that. And basically I was doing my own sort of little tarot card reading for myself to see if I could pick anything up. Then there was an energy grabbed me, was pulling me out of the tent. This is weird. It's like it's magnetized energy. And I could hear a bird, and in the tree was a pigeon, just a pigeon. But the energy was pulling me to this pigeon. And just little experiences like that, you think, my goodness, what is going on here? And another thing that happens with me is before a major change or news or the spirit world want me to think about it, a robin appears. A robin. I always associate a robin with my mum.
Yep.
And the other day, I work in a school in normal time, and it flew into the dining room. I was alone, locking the place up after the school, and this robin appeared. And I thought, okay, I think I get it. There's quite a few things happening, whereby it's gathering pace now, post-pandemic. We've got a demonstration tomorrow night in a pub, which I wasn't sure whether it was going to happen. And I got news that it is happening, and then this robin appeared half an hour later. So I thought, yeah, time to get on with it, the live show sort of thing, live shows, not on the internet.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm sure people can relate to things like that. Butterflies we often get, and things like that appearing, and they're associated with a certain person in the spirit world that they loved quite dearly. Okay. I have to, when you mention your dad, I have to give you the name Bill.
Sorry?
I have to give you the name Bill. Hope you can understand Bill. Because when back in the conversation here, or the interview, you said, oh yeah, your dad went to the spirit world recently. Bill came to my mind. And it keeps coming back, so I have to mention that. Maybe you need to pay a bill, I don't know.
Oops.
But it keeps coming back to me, so I have to mention Bill. And sometimes, if it doesn't mean anything to you right now,
it might mean in the future.
It will do. It will be significant in a sense. And that's another thing about mediumship. People often look at us and think, okay, yeah, that medium's information was okay, but there were a few bits here and there that the reader, the person, the sitter, if you like, the sitter, was looking a bit dubious about. But I'll guarantee you that in the goodness of time, they'll find that information.
Yep.
It makes us look not very good when we're giving it, if it's being witnessed, being on a
Yeah.
demonstration. I'll give you an example. I visited a chap the other day who was, I think he's just opening up to the spirit world, and he's a bit confused about it and stuff and needed a bit of advice. And I said, I've got to give you the name Angela. He said, Angela? I don't know, I've got some vague memory of Angela. And I said, I'm also seeing a hospital. I said, okay. Well, they live near a hospital, but I didn't feel that was just that. Anyway, I left the guy. An hour later, he says, do you remember that lady I was telling you about? Well, she rang me and she just told me that Angela's in hospital having an operation. So, to me at the time, didn't look like it was good information.
Yep.
But now that it's come back to him and hit him in that way, it's actually made it even more concrete for him. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm sure Spirit do it on purpose. Now I'm sure he's going to go down that path. He's meant to go down the path of Spirit.
Yeah.
And it just makes it better for him. It's for the person receiving it, not the other people. So often things look a little bit dubious at the time.
Yep.
But
Spirit timing's weird. It doesn't always line up with how we think about time.
Exactly, but they're very intelligent.
Yep.
They know the effect they want, and they know the best way to get it for that person at that time. I'm sure other people have experienced that. We've had readings and thought, I don't really understand that name or the significance of that. But then they go and ask their mum or somebody else in the family, and they, didn't you know that? I thought you knew that. And then it means a lot more to them, because they think, well, how the devil did they know that? I didn't even know it. So I guess some people might think they're reading minds and stuff like that. And if they didn't know it, weren't even thinking about it, then that's not a possibility. So it gives them more credit to the spirit world that way. Okay.
And some people just don't understand how that sort of thing works. They think it's just like a turn on a tap.
Exactly. It's not. No, it's not quite like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
And I've given this explanation of tuning into your spirit so that spirit can tune into you and give you the information. Okay, but we still don't know. And we probably won't know until we go to spirit ourselves. And even then, I'm sure there's more that we don't know.
We're going to start from, we go become a spirit, then we're going to start from the bottom again and learn all again. Who knows?
Well, yeah, because I understand, when you're a spirit, everything's going to be new to you.
Yeah.
And how to work with things and stuff, just as it is in life here. Now, you've made me think of something now. Now, this is going to open up something. And I can't answer the questions that you probably will be asked, but do you remember there's a very famous spirit guide, Silver Birch?
Right.
You heard of Silver Birch? If not, then Google him and you'll find plenty of information about Silver Birch. But Silver Birch came through, I think it might have been Maurice Barbanel. If I'm wrong, then Maurice Barbanel wrote about it or was present at the seances that this spirit guide came through. Anyway, the point that I want to make is that Silver Birch indicated that he himself was a medium for another higher spirit. So a spirit in the spirit world was acting as a medium. So it wasn't coming from spirit to a medium to the earth plane. It was coming from a higher spirit, possibly in another realm, through a spirit in the spirit world acting as a medium, then through the spirit, through the medium on the earth plane, then to the people on the earth plane. So it wasn't this three-way thing where you've got many layers. So he was opening up the possibility or suggesting that there are more layers to what we generally think of as earth and heaven or earth and spirit world. It was there's more.
Yeah.
And in the Bible, I mean, I looked, obviously, I questioned and stuff, and I looked at the Bible and all the religions, and I believe basically the skeleton of all the religions, they believe in one thing. They all agree on one thing, that there is a God.
Yep.
And I think if you take out all the wishy-washy stuff and you basically look at the spine of what all the religions are, then you've got spirituality.
Yeah.
You've got spiritualism. It's just that some
Absolutely.
decide they just went in different ways of how they deal with it. But in the Bible, it does say, "In my house there are many mansions." So I look at that as to say, okay, so there's the possibility that there's others.
Yeah.
Other dimensions or other levels, if you like.
Yeah.
I don't know whether, I think you probably are into the possibility of extraterrestrials and stuff like that. But I have had experiences of those, and I've got friends who've had experiences of them. And quite early doors in my development, suddenly was aware of some different, like, blue energies in the room, and witnessed some weird space sort of flying objects as well at times. And friends have certainly recalled similar experiences. So, and I once was in the audience of a medium in trance in my early days, and I asked, what about extraterrestrials? Do they exist? And his answer was, the human race is the lowest of them all. That was his answer. He didn't say, the spirit never give you a direct yes or no and divulge from it. They always give you a sort of cryptic, make you think more. But his answer was, the human race is the lowest of them all. Suggesting that yes, there are more different races and stuff. And that perhaps we think of ourselves as the highest beings in the universe, sort of thing, because we sort of
some people do
see ourselves as higher above the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom and stuff on the earth. But when you think about it, if there are other beings, then perhaps he's right, because we don't do a very good job of it, do we? Really?
No.
All the wars we have and the material way of thinking that most people unfortunately have.
Yes, it's a big distraction on life.
Yeah.
I find that most people just chase a carrot on a stick their whole lives without even asking those questions.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're a long way off a utopian society where we're all loving and living in peace and harmony, I'm afraid. But at least if we're a part of the process of getting towards that, then I'm relatively happy.
Yeah, well, it starts with ourselves, doesn't it?
I think so, yes. Yes.
We're all responsible for ourselves to get ourselves to the best version we can.
Indeed.
And that's all we can do.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. As soon as you start getting a group together, you get power shifting away from, and people take control. So it's very difficult. I think it's a sort of innate thing in us that some people will allow people to take control and take power, and as soon as that starts happening, then other things happen. So I don't know.
Ego gets involved, and
yeah. Well, we're all guilty of it as well.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
A better life, if you like. But you don't really. I watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory today just before this, and there's a lot of truth in that. There's a lot.
Gene Wilder.
Pardon?
Gene Wilder or
No, the other
or the
one.
newer version with
The more, yeah, with him in Pirates of the Caribbean, chap. Oh gosh.
yeah, I know the one.
Yeah, it's the more modern one, but it's still
Yeah.
very good.
21 Jump Street guy, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He plays. He's got a good weird look on his face.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, you look at that as a story, and the greed of the kids and what have you, and what it gets, and then the kid who's pure and sticks with his family, but he does end up with it all.
Yeah,
it's a good message. It is a very good message. Right.
We've got some questions from the audience. Would you be interested in asking
yeah, sure.
some of them? Okay,
we've got one. See the audience. But...
one first question is: do we all have the ability to produce magnoplasm?
To produce ectoplasm?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that's the case. Only physical mediums will produce ectoplasm, and you have to have a certain body build up in a certain chemical way to do that. So I don't believe that everybody has the possibility of being a physical medium and producing ectoplasm, from what I read in the past and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. From what I've heard about it, I don't think everyone wants to have it either.
No. I did read one funny thing about it is physical mediums tend to have a full set of hair.
Okay.
I think
there's me out.
I know that's why I said it, but don't discount it, because I have seen some physical mediums that are bald as well. So, but I do believe, you just need a certain chemical makeup within your DNA or whatever it is to be able to do that. Yeah.
Someone asked, can we teleport?
Can we teleport? Do they mean the whole physical body teleporting?
Sandra, what did you mean by that? Yeah, what do you mean by that, Sandra? If you're still there, I'll go on to the next question.
I can answer it in certain ways as best I can that I understand. You can certainly be in two different places at the same time once you connect with your spirit. If you're thinking about a certain location, then your spirit will be in that location. I can give you an example. One of the workers at my church said, I saw you walk across the platform last Sunday. And I said, what are you on about? I wasn't at church last Sunday. She says, you were, I saw you. I says, no, but I was meditating and I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
So my spirit went there because I was thinking about it. Okay. So I believe in your spirit. Your spirit is very expansive. It can go anywhere it wants in the universe, and you just have to think about it. So you project within your mind where you want to be, and that answers a question on they use I can't remember the word for it, the phrase that they use, but they used to use it in wartime, psychically to
remote viewing.
That's it, remote viewing, to sort of spy on the enemy basically, and find out what they can. So yes, remote viewing, yes, you can do that. Yeah, no problem.
Next question. What are your thoughts on the spirit being in the flesh consciously?
What about the spirit being in the flesh consciously? I'm not sure what they mean there.
Like, what are your thoughts of the soul being consciously being in the flesh?
Well, it is. It's part of it, and it's not just in there. It's in there and it's out here too at the same time.
Yep.
It doesn't stop when you get to the physical body at your skin level. it's all part of one, if you understand me.
Yep. And someone was asking, what was the book that your sister gave you?
Oh, it was a book called Finding the Third Eye by Vera Alder Stanley. So if you put Stanley, Vera, and Finding the Third Eye in Google, you'll find that book. Yeah.
And the timestamp is 1 hour for if you want to go back after the show and look for that book.
Okay.
So is there anything else? So if you could go back to when you started getting into spirituality and into mediumship, what would be the advice that you would give yourself? Would there be anything different you'd do?
Is there anything different I'd do? I wouldn't have known at the time how to change what I was doing. If I can change that question into what would I advise others to do, I would advise one to really look into yourself and try to forgive all the wrongdoings that have been done to you. And one of the big teachings I've realized but this is for just me personally, it won't be for everybody, it will be different. I never understood emotions properly. I'm not a very emotional person. And I believe that's part of my makeup so that I can deal with being a medium, to be honest with you. But one of the greatest learnings I realized was how emotions can affect you and then be brought out as a physical ailment in the body. I witnessed somebody who was in absolute agony, and it was all through emotional stuff that she'd been through her life. And it basically wrecked her in a physical sense. And I was never aware of that because I didn't experience it myself. I sort of have this buffer whereby I don't allow it to enter me somehow. And a lot of people don't understand that and think I'm a bit cold. But
I get that.
Spirit have said to me, through somebody else actually, that I was born that way. And that's part of how I am meant to be. Because otherwise I'd be bombarded, I think. And I'd be like a sponge, and I'd take up all these people's problems, and it would probably kill me, to be honest. Or not allow me to function in the way I'm meant to function. So naturally, it just seems to bounce off me. So I'm not the easiest person to read either, you know, for another medium. They find it very difficult because I've got like this natural defense up here so that, you know, I'm able to do the work that I do. Otherwise, I think, like I say, I'd be a sponge. And I think a lot of mediums, people working out there, they get into it because they are naturally like a sponge and they take on people's energy and then they want to help them. And that's great. But they will have to learn how to put that barrier up. And I don't know how to do that. Or we sort of imagine mirrors reflecting energy back and stuff like that. But they will have to find the way that works for them. But I think it's important to maybe give that advice out that they would become very sensitive and they want to be not taking on everybody's ills. They want to become aware of them, but not allowing it to actually manifest as a problem for them. Allow it to just bounce back and be dealt with in that way. But the point about that I first said about forgiving is if you hold regrets or you hold sort of revenge thoughts about, don't like that person because they did this to me, and they're learning lessons. Everybody's learning lessons through everything that we experience and do in life.
Yeah.
And if you can sort of take on that sort of look on it and say, well, okay, they did that because they had to learn a lesson through it, and you can forgive them then you're dealing with that energy that they've inflicted upon you.
Yep.
And allow that energy to dissipate away and not
Yeah.
affect you anymore. That allows you to become more in tune with you. And that allows you to work better. So, number one, I'd say try and forgive and forget. Work out who you are. Become very more aware of your spirit and to control it too, the spirit, your spirit, and also to control the spirit world.
Yep.
Because a lot of people will then think, oh, I'm a medium, blah, 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 let's have it then, come on. Well, they'll give it to you. You'll be like an aerial and they'll say, come on, let's get this, let's work with this guy. Boom, we'll bombard him. Well, and they'll teach you a lesson in a sense, because they will bombard you until you realize that they want you to be in control of your mediumship. And you say to them, okay, this is getting a bit much. I need to control it. Can you step back now? We're not working now. You know, you've got to realize you've got a physical life as well. So you've got to manage the two together. And you've got to say, okay, I'm going to work now. I don't want to be bothered. You don't want to be going to shops and picking up all this information as you're walking around for people. And some people do.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want it. And they don't want it. Really. There's a time and a place for everything. So just build up this relationship with spirit and say, okay, now is the time I'm working when you're ready to. And because I mentioned, if you remember, most of the time we're more aware of our conscious mind and not our subconscious. When you're going to sleep at night is when you're dwelling your conscious mind and becoming more aware of your subconscious just before you go to sleep. That's when spirit come in through your subconscious mind. So you become aware of the spirit world and you think they're bothering you. You think, okay, so it keeps you up. Well, that's no good for you as well, because you're going to not get enough sleep. So you build this relationship with your guides and loved ones in the spirit world that are working with you, and you're saying, okay,
set your boundaries.
Set your boundaries. Say, look, I need a good night's sleep. So just back off a bit. Let me have a good night's sleep. And another key, the one I would advise, if you want a good night's kip, tell them you want a good night's kip. Ask your angels. Say, look, okay. And if you need to get up at a certain time in the morning, trust me, this works. Don't set the alarm clock. Ask spirit to get you up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, or whatever it is, and you will, I'll guarantee it, wake up at that time. I don't have a watch, I don't have a clock, I don't have an alarm clock. I just use spirit.
Wow.
Okay?
That's good.
Try it. I don't have
good
a
for
watch.
tuning.
I don't wear a watch.
Yep.
If I need to know the time, I just say, okay, what time is it? And I won't be far off.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you, not be far off. Sometimes it's bang on, sometimes it's 5-10 minutes out, but that's probably my mind kicking in as well. But yeah.
It would keep you on your toes, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I'm doing Seconder and people like that out of business, but never mind. But just try it. Just obviously, you can try it. You can practice these things just by saying, well, okay, spirit, what time is it? And don't look at your clock or your watch and see what comes through and see how close you are. You'll not be far off.
That's great.
I'll
be trying that.
Yeah. What time is it anyway?
I'm not sure. Night time. Friday time.
Friday time. Yeah.
That's it.
Work
tomorrow. Yeah. Saturday's work day, not getting paid time. Well, thanks for having you on the show, Tim.
You're welcome.
It's been great having you. I've learned so much, and the depth that you went into is just really awesome. I think a lot of people got a lot out of it.
I'm glad.
And everyone, if Tim's link is in the show notes, if you want to get, if you want any more information, you can get. You're on Facebook, aren't you? Yep.
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page, and I've got another Facebook page called Timothy Doyle. my full name. And there's another one, Tim Doyle. If you just put Tim Doyle UK Media.
Yeah, I got the Tim Doyle.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'll find me.
Yep.
No problem. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, it's been great having you on your show. I'm gonna have to watch your show again. There was just so much information in there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you very much for being on the show. And I'll just let people, everyone know that next week I'll just sneak preview next week's guest. And so we'll have Tara Pryor. She'll be telling us what she does with her sound and healing, which we haven't had someone on the show that's done sound healing. So that will be an interesting show. That'll be this time next week. Thank you once again, Tim. It's been lovely having you on the show. And thanks everyone for joining us. Just remember, you can catch us on this show on YouTube. You can watch it whenever you want. Okay. Thanks very much, Tim. Thanks, everyone. You have a lovely night.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Good night. Goodbye.